Om. 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 गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् ॐ श्रीकृष्ण परमात्मने नमः श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता षोडशोऽध्यायः श्रीभगवानुवाच अभयं सत्त्वसंशुद्धिः ज्ञानयोगव्यवस्थितिः दानं दमश्च यज्ञश्च स्वाध्यायस्तपार्जवम् अहिंसा सत्यमक्रोधः त्यागः शान्तिरपैशुनम् दया भूतेष्वलो लुप्त्वम् मार्दवम् ह्रीरचापलम् तेजः क्षमा धृतिः शौचम् अद्रोहो नातिमानिता भवन्ति सम्पदं दैवीम् अभिजातस्य भारत दम्भो दर्पोऽभिमानश्च क्रोधः पारुष्यमेव च अज्ञानं चाभिजातस्य पार्थ सम्पदमासुरीम् दैवी सम्पद्विमोक्षाय निबन्धायासुरीमता मा शुचः सम्पदं दैवीम् अभिजातोऽसि पाण्डव द्वौ भूतसर्गौ लोकेऽस्मिन् दैव आसुर एव च दै दैवो विस्तरशः प्रोक्त दैवो विस्तरशः प्रोक्तः आसुरं पार्थ मे शृणु प्रवृत्तिं च निवृत्तिं च जना न विदुरासुराः न शौचं नापि चाचारः न सत्यं तेषु विद्यते असत्यम् अप्रतिष्ठं ते जगदाहुरनीश्वरम् अपरस्परसम्भूतं किमन्यत् कामहैतुकम् एतां दृष्टिमवष्टभ्य नष्टात्मानोऽल्पबुद्धयः प्रभवन्त्युग्रकर्माणः क्षयाय जगतो हिताः काममाश्रित्य दुष्पूरं दम्भमानमदान्विताः मोहात् गृहीत्वा सद्ग्राहान् प्रवर्तन्ते शुचिव्रताः चिन्तामपरिमेयां च प्रलयान्तामुपाश्रिताः कामोपभोगबलार्थ परमा एतावदिति निश्चिताः आशापाशशतैर्बद्धाः कामक्रोधपरायणाः ईहन्ते कामभोगार्थम् अन्यायेनार्थसञ्चयान् इदमद्य मया लब्धम् इमं प्राप्स्ये मनोरथम् इदमस्तीदमपि मे इदमस्तीदमपि मे भविष्यति पुनर्धनम् असौ मया हतः शत्रुर्हनिष्ये चाप असौ मया हतः शत्रुः अहनिष्ये चापरानपि ईश्वरोऽहमहं भोगी सिद्धोऽहं बलवान् सुखी आढ्योऽभिजनवानस्मि पुण्योऽस्ति सदृशो मया यक्ष्ये दास्यामि मोदिष्य इत्यज्ञानविमोहिताः अनेकचित्तविभ्रान्ता मोहजालसमावृताः प्रसक्ता कामभोगेषु पतन्ति नरकेषु च आत्मसम्भाविता स्तब्धा धनमानमदान्विताः यजन्ते नाम यजन्ते नाम यज्ञैस्ते दम्भेनाविधिपूर्वकम् अहङ्कारं बलं दर्पं कामं क्रोधं च संश्रिताः मामात्मपरदेहेषु प्रद्विषन्तोऽभ्यसूयकाः तानहं द्विषतः क्रूरान् संसारेषु नराधमान् क्षिपाम्यजस्रमशुभान् आसुरीषे क्षिपाम्यजस्रमशुभानासु क्षिपाम्यजस्रमशुभान् आसुरीष्वेव योनिषु आसुरीं योनिमापन्ना मूढा जन्मनि जन्मनि मामप्राप्यैव कौन्तेय ततो यान्त्यधमां गतिम् त्रिविधं नरकस्येदं द्वारं नाशनमात्मनः कामः क्रोधस्तथा लोभः तस्मादेतत्त्रयं त्यजेत् एतैर्विमुक्तः कौन्तेय तमोद्वारैस्त्रिभिर्नरः एतैर्विमुक्तः कौन्तेय तमोद्वारैस्त्रिभिर्नरः आचरत्यात्मनः श्रेयः ततो याति परां गतिम् यः शास्त्रविधिमुत्सृज्य वर्तते कामकारतः न स सिद्धिमवाप्नोति न सुखं न परां गतिम् तस्मात् शास्त्रं प्रमाणं त्रे कार्याकार्यव्यवस्थितौ ज्ञात्वा शास्त्रविधानोक्तं कर्म कर्तुमिहार्हसि ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुन संवादे दैवासुरसम्पद्विभागयोगो नाम षोडशोऽध्यायः अथ सप्तदशोऽध्यायः अर्जुन उवाच ये शास्त्रविधिमुत्सृज्य यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विताः तेषां निष्ठा तु का कृष्ण सत्त्वमाहोरजस्तमः ॐ तत्सत् सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु. I think we were in verse 20th, right? 20.
Which verse is that? Kama Krodham Trayam Tyajit?
Uh, yeah, it is 21st.
That comes after this. Okay. Yeah. You can start
So,
from 19th and then continue maybe, Bela.
okay, okay. तानहं द्विषतः क्रूरान् संसारेषु नराधमान् क्षिपाम्यजस्रमशुभान् आसुरीष्वेव योनिषु. तान् द्विषतः, those who despise, kruran, who are cruel, ashubhan, who are wrongdoers, naradhaman, naradhaman, nar adhaman, the lowest of man, samsareshu, into a life of transmigration, asurishu eva yonishu, only in asuri wombs, ajasram, perpetually, aham kshipami, I dispatch. तान् द्विषतः क्रूरान् अशुभान् नराधमान् संसारेषु आसुरीषु एव योनिषु अजस्रम् अहं क्षिपामि. Those men who are hateful and cruel, who are the lowest of men, who are wrongdoers, I dispatch them repeatedly into a life of transmigration only in Asuri wombs. I dispatch them into Asuri yonis again and again. All these people are completely given to these things. Samsritaha, samshritaha. Ahankara is what accounts for the sense of individuality. In general, it is in the form of a superimposition of kartritva, the sense of agency, and bhoktritva, the sense of enjoyership upon Atma, that is responsible for this individuality. So, based on this superimposition, one concludes that he is a sukhi, a happy person, or dukhi, an unhappy person. The notions which are superimposed upon the Atma and which have their root in Ahankara are the basis of all our problems and drive all our pursuits, both legitimate and questionable. I repeat this line. The notions which are superimposed upon the Atma and which have their root in Ahamkara are the basis of all our problems and drive all our pursuits, both legitimate and questionable. But in the sense in which it is used here, there is a lot of subjectivity involved and it is therefore very well entrenched. Because it is well entrenched and given a lot of validity, There is egoism which make these men cruel people. And these people have bala, strength of the body, mind, etc., a brute strength that serves only to trouble others. Shankara says it is a strength which is backed by the raga dveshas that is used to overpower others. Parabhava nimittam kama raganvitam. There is a footnote. This bala is unlike the one that Bhagwan said was himself when he said balam balavatam chaham kamaraga vivarjitam. That is from Shloka 11, chapter 7. Balam balavatam chaham kamaraga vivarjitam dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. And they have darpa, insolence, which makes them cross the bounds of what is proper or improper. Being committed to objects of enjoyment, kama, naturally there will be anger, krodha, when they are not fulfilled. Once this type of ahamkara is there, these few things, darpa, kama, and krodha, will automatically come along with it. It is like a kingpin of the underworld. Wherever he goes, you will find his henchmen. Here, Darpa, Kama, and Krodha are the henchmen of the well-drenched, Rajas predominant Ahankara of this type. So, Ahankara has
You
these
repeat,
army.
can you repeat
Yeah,
that sentence once again?
yeah, only sentence or the paragraph?
Just the
Yeah,
sentence.
yeah. Once here, Darpa, Kama, and Krodha are the henchmen of the well-trenched, Rajas predominant Ahankara of this type. Here, Darpa is insolence. Brahmaraji, is that, I think as we read further, it will come. Yeah. Even if such people come to know that all the things they are pursuing will not help them gain what they really want, and that there is only Parmeshwara indwelling their own and other bodies, knowing whom their problem will be solved, they oppose and despise. That very one who obtains in their own body as well as in all other bodies as Sat Chit Ananda. I repeat, even if such people come to know that all the things they are pursuing will not help them gain what they really want, and that there is only Parmeshwara indwelling their own and other bodies, knowing whom their problem will be solved, they oppose and despise that very one who obtains in their own body as well as in all other bodies as Sat Chit Ananda. That being so, that is despising Parmeshwara, Prada Vishantaha. They transgress the universal mandates of Ishvara. What is to be done and what is not to be done is very easily appreciated just through common sense. Since it is not created by any human being but innately known by all, we call it the order of Ishvara. The people being discussed here transgress these universal ethics and, of course, those that are mentioned in the Shastra. The transgression is considered the hatred of Ishvara, and conversely, following dharma becomes a kind of worship of Ishvara. All ethical people, though they may not recognize Ishvara, are worshippers of Ishvara. Further, those people of Asuri disposition are great cavillers. Abhayan Suyakaha. Abhyasuyakaha. Abhyasuyaka. I hope I am correct. Abhyasuyakaha. If someone has some virtues, they will try to find and point out some defect. Seeing the merits of others makes them feel small, and to counteract that, they will look for what is lacking in the person. They particularly cannot tolerate the qualities, lifestyle, disciplines, and values of people who are spiritual seekers and who follow Dharma. What does Ishvara do with such people? All these people who live a life opposed to Dharma and are inimical to the people who are following a life of Dharma, Ishvara dispatches them to a life of samsara. It is not that he despises them as they do him, but they have earned these results which are given to them in full measure. These people who transgress Ishvara's mandate are cruel, krura, and are the lowest of men, naradhamas, because they do not make use of their viveka, capacity to discern what is right and what is wrong. The plural samsareshu indicates the many different births they will take one after the other. Ajashrama, perpetually, because they have gathered so many karmas, they cannot fulfill all of them in just one birth, Janma. Even if you are born as a human being, it is also samsara. But for some time, these people will be born only in Asuri wombs, Asurishu eva yonishu. Because in their human birth they pounced like tigers and kicked like donkeys, stung like scorpions, and gobbled voraciously like varieties of animals, they get a chance to live in a form where they can exhaust that very cruelty. They will become objects of fear. Anything which frightens you legitimately, like a snake which is poisonous and merciless, is an Asuri yoni. As a human being with a capacity to think and to choose, I am supposed to heed my conscience and follow Dharma. If instead I become a terror for everybody, the law of karma, which is perfect in its justice, will place me in an Asuri yoni next time. Therefore, the Lord says, I dispatch them into Asuri yonis again and again. Kshipami ajashram asurishu eva yonishu. So I think it is for those asuras who are having too much of ahankara. And because of that ahankara, they try to put everybody down. And they have the army of anger. Uh, can someone help? Anger, uh, ego, anger. Ahankara has an army of anger and
Dar-
kama and krodha
Darpa.
and darpa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is about the extreme, those who are asurs, right? It is not about the normal people like Jignasu and Mumukshu. It is about those who are asuras, who are like they hit or they kill people for their for fulfilling their ahankara to establish their power.
They may not necessarily kill, but their their pravartana is such that they do not, number one, recognize Ishvara. They're completely unethical in their ways of the world. And they will go to any extent to satisfy their ahankara. And if there is anything, and they're riddled with desires, asha, pasha, shatair, baddha. So they're riddled with so much of desire, and any obstruction to their desire instigates their anger. So they have darpa, they have kama, and as well as krodha.
Okay.
And such people, Bhagavan says, he will dispatch them into asuri yonis, because to exhaust all the papa they have accumulated, they will have to go through so many other animal yonis, asuri yonis, like a scorpion, a snake, a donkey, a tiger.
Hmm. Yeah, asurishu eva yonishu. Hmm.
Whereas a person who's ethical, who does not recognize Ishvara, is still worshipping Ishvara in a subtle manner, because he's at least living a
Hmm.
dharmic way. So he's one step above this asuri person.
Hmm.
And then
And
finally
it,
we have a karma yogi, who's a mumukshu in the true sense.
hmm. The only thing I just want, Rajas predominant and not Tamas predominant, such as Asurs, they have Tamas predominant, right? Rajas and Tamas both, I believe. Then
Yeah,
only
here
they can.
Bhagavan
Hmm.
said Rajas predominant because they have so many desires. That
Hmm.
desire comes from Rajas.
Kam. Hmm. Kam. Hmm. Okay. So here it includes all those who are too ambitious also, right? And in fulfilling their ambition, in corporate world also it happens, right? Some people they want to establish their power. In politics
Yeah,
also the
it's
same
not
thing.
wrong to be ambitious as long as you're following ethical means to achieve what you're achieving. But if
Yeah,
you are
dharmic.
ambitious and you're resorting to unfair means, then that
Mm,
becomes asuri guna.
yeah, in politics it happens a lot of.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Look at art of living. I wouldn't say ambitious, but it started off as a single person and it is spread over 180 countries. If that mission was not there to spread all across this goodness and things to uplift people's lives, it would not have happened. So there is an element of ambition there, but it was for a good cause,
Hmm.
and it was all done dharmically. Whereas
Hmm.
the same thing, if you're ambitious and you're following wrong methods, then it becomes an asuri guna.
Hmm. Yeah, very nice. आसुरीं योनिमापन्ना मूढा जन्मनि जन्मनि मामप्राप्यैव कौन्तेय ततो यान्त्यधमां गतिम्. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti Arjuna, Asuri Yonim, the womb of an Asura, Apannaha, those who have obtained Janmani Janmani in every birth, Mudhaha, those who lack discrimination, Mam Aprapya Eva, certainly not reaching me, Tataha Adhamam, lower than that, Gatim and Yanti go. कौन्तेयः कौन्तेय आसुरीं योनिम् आपन्नाः जन्मनि जन्मनि मूढाः माम् अप्राप्य एव ततः अधमां गतिं यान्ति. Arjuna, these who lack discrimination, obtaining the womb of an asura in every birth, certainly not reaching me, go to an end that is even lower than that. These are people who lack discrimination, even with reference to what is to be done and what is not to be done. Such people obtain births in the wombs of asuras not once but repeatedly because they have gathered so much papa that one birth is not enough to exhaust it. Thus, they are born as carnivorous animals or some other form in which tamas is predominant in order to experience cruelty. In such forms, there is no viveka. The tiger does not think it is cruel, nor does it want to change. This type of discrimination is the privilege of a human being, which they did not exercise in their human births, and therefore they keep going to lower and lower wombs where there is no viveka. This goes on for some time until all the consequences of their wrongdoings are exhausted. Because of their behavior in their human birth, there is no question of gaining Ishvara. Shankara says there is no suspicion or a doubt that they do not gain Ishvara. He is far out of reach for these people. First, they have to begin to follow dharma, which is enjoined by Ishvara and found in the Veda. At this point, they are lost in other ways. And in order to create a dispassion towards such tendencies, Krishna says they go to a still worse end. Tataha adhamam gatim yanti. These are the general features of an asura's nature, though among them there are many differences in their manifest behavior. One might be predominantly cruel, another more disruptive, but all of them have three basic things. All of the manifold manifestations of an asuri dispositions can be avoided if these three things are taken care of. They are the root cause of all that is undesirable, anartha. Krishna enumerates them in the next verse and asks one to avoid them. त्रिविधं नरकस्येदं द्वारं नाशनमात्मनः कामः क्रोधस्तथा लोभः तस्मादेतत्त्रयं त्यजेत्. Kindly correct me my pronunciation. Kam krodhastatha lobha tasmadetattrayam tyajet. Trividham, threefold, narakasya of naraka, painful experience, idam dwaram, this doorway, atmanah nasham, which is the destroyer of oneself, kamah, desire, krodha, anger, tatha, lobha, so too greed. Tasmat, therefore, etat trayam, these triad, tyajet, one should give up. Trividham narakasya idam dwaram atmanah nashanam kamah क्रोधः तथा लोभः तस्मात् एतत् त्रयं त्यजेत्. This doorway to Naraka, painful experiences which destroys a person, is threefold: desire, anger, and also greed. Therefore, one should give up this triad. So that shloka which Brahmaraji says, no? Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammoha smriti vibrama, smriti bhramshad buddhinasha. The threefold doorway to Naraka. Naraka is any experience of pain. One can enter it through any one of these three doors, Dwara, all of which are the destroyer of a person. Atmanah Nashanam. Shankara says that just entering into this gate, you will find you are destroyed. It is like stepping into a trap. It swallows you up immediately, as an animal is caught in a trap by baiting it with what it likes. A human being is caught and destroyed by these three things. He is destroyed in the sense that his mind is so disturbed that he is no longer fit for any purushartha, leave alone moksha. Even the simple sukha that he had hoped to get is lost because of these three. Kama, a binding desire or longing for something, is what makes one enter into the trap. Once this is there, anger, krodha, and greed, lobha, necessarily follow. Conversely, if you can manage kama, passion, then anger and greed are automatically taken care of. If you are able to take care of your anger, you will find that karma can be contained. You can deal with it effectively. Greed is mentioned lastly because when there is greed, anger is unavoidable. But if the greed is taken care of, anger can be taken care of, and later the karma too. It is important to discern where greed begins and a simple binding desire ends. A desire is binding if its non fulfillment makes you angry. You have to discover where the greed begins. If there is something that you do not need, that you can manage easily without, and you want it anyway, that is greed. I repeat, if there is something that you do not need, that you can manage easily without, and you want it anyway, that is greed. In fulfilling a desire, if one crosses the ways of dharma, that desire itself becomes greed. All three of these, desire, anger, and greed, are portals to painful experiences and therefore the cause for self-destruction. Atmanah Nashanam. It is Atmanah or Atmanah. Kindly correct. Atmanah. Atmanah Nashanam. No intelligent person wants to get destroyed. So naturally, one should give up these three. Etat trayam tyajet. If you can manage these, the rest of the Asuri Sampat will be taken care of. The description of the Asuri Sampat is given in such detail here that it may seem overwhelming, and therefore Krishna reduces the whole thing to Kama, Krodha, and Lobha. Even these three can be reduced to karma because in the final analysis, that is the root cause of all anarthas. I repeat, the description of the Asuri Sampat is given in such detail here that it may seem overwhelming, and therefore Krishna reduces the whole thing to Kama, Krodha, and Lobha. Even these three can be reduced to Kama because in the final analysis, that is the root cause of all anarthas. One has to give them up. But how? They are not something I can give up. They are me. Therefore, I require prayer, certain disciplines, and also inquiry, vichara, in order to give these up. Cognitively, I can change my priorities so that what seems big assumes an appropriate proportion. This is how we grow. When, as a child, my balloon burst or deflated, it was a big problem for me. But now it does not bother me at all because I have become mature with reference to balloons. When my stock crashes, however, it is a huge problem. We even find people committing suicide or having heart attacks because of stock fluctuations. From this, it is very clear that our problem is karma. By vichara, we can surely help ourselves to grow out of it, since we have grown out of so many things. By prasada buddhi, as we have seen, our raga, dveshas, otherwise called kama, can be neutralized. If that is effective, krodha and lobha are automatically taken care of because they do not arise when there is no karma. So here is a roadmap to introspect. When we take everything as of prasad buddhi and all our karmas as offering to Ishvara, then there will be our raga dveshas are taken care of, which are called kama. And then automatically, slowly, krodha and lobha also are taken care of. So this is a beautiful key given by Bhagavan. The giving up of these three is praised in the next verse. एतैर्विमुक्त कौन्तेय तमोद्वारैस्त्रिभिर्नरः एतैर्विमुक्त कौन्तेय तमोद्वारैस्त्रिभिर्नरः आचरत्यात्मनः श्रेयः ततो याति परां गतिम्. कौन्तेय क्षम्यताम् आचरत्यात्मनः श्रेयस्ततो याति परां गतिम्. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Arjuna, etaihi tribihi, by these three, tamodvaraihi, gates of darkness, vimuktaha naraha, the man who has been freed, atmanaha shreyas, what is good for oneself, acharati, follows, tataha, because of that, param gatim, higher, and yati, reaches. Kaunteya etaihi tribihi tamodvaraihi vimuktah narah atmanah shreyas acharati tatah param gatim yati. A man who is free from these three gates to darkness, Arjuna, follows what is good for himself. Because of that, he reaches the higher end. I repeat, a man who is free from these three gates to darkness, Arjuna, follows what is good for himself. Because of that, he reaches the higher end. One free from kama, krodha, lobha goes towards Shreyas. Naraka is called darkness, tamas here, because it is a place where Viveka is obscured. So there is delusion and therefore pain. In Ishwaryopanishad, it is said, those people who are self-destructive go to the worlds called Asurya, that are covered with the darkness of a blind man. It is from Ishwar, Ishwasyopanishad. Sorry, it is from Ishwasyopanishad.
ईशावास्य
Okay, Ishavasyopanishad. Dhanyavad. Ishavasyopanishad. In Ishavasyopanishad, it is said, those people who are self-destructive go to the worlds called Asurya, that are covered with the darkness of a blind man. It means there is a predominance of delusion and therefore no sukha. If the individual becomes a rat, what viveka will he have? The capacity to think and understand is all very rudimentary. And this is what is figuratively called the darkness of a blind man. Where there is no viveka, the mind is altogether different. It has the advantage of not having the problems that we have, but then it also cannot read a line. If you throw a book, even the Gita, before a donkey, it will eat the whole thing. It has only food value for it. Similarly, if you load a donkey with sandalwood, it carries only the load, not the sandalwood. Bharasya vahi na tu chandanasya, because it has no appreciation of its value. This is a viveka. In such births, where there is such limited viveka, there is also no sukha. And kama, krodha, and lobha are the gates to enter into such situations. The person, Nara, discussed in this verse is totally free with reference to these three gates to pain. Nara means a human being. By definition, he is the one who does not get destroyed. Nariyate iti naraha. This very definition tells you that he is the imperishable Atma. This Nara, if he is not assailed by Kama, Krodha, and Lobha, he is able to use his Viveka and therefore lives a life of proper conduct. That is, lives a life that will lead him to his ultimate good. Shreyo Margam Acharati. In contrast to the path of self-destruction, Atmanaha Nashanam of the previous verse, this person follows a course of action which is good for himself. Atmanaha Shreyasa Acharati. It is from here the word Shreyas means the path of Shreyas, Shreyo Marga. Only then will it connect with the verb acharati. So with the Shreyas and prayers. So but here Swamiji is talking about Shreyas. This is possible because he is free from the inhibiting factors of Kama, Krodha and Lobha. that previously impelled him to do wrong actions. When one is dissipating all one's energies through these three, what viveka can he have? He has no time to think properly. Even to begin to free oneself from kama, krodha, and lobha, one must have some viveka. Then, once the process has begun, he does not have to be taught that it is good for him because he now enjoys an inner leisure that was previously denied to him. All because of viveka. To have kama, krodha, and lobha is very natural. Every child is in touch with all of them. To be free of them, however, requires a lot of viveka. With sufficient viveka, a person can pursue what is good, shreyas for him, whether it be artha, kama, dharma, or moksha. All are good for him, no doubt, but the real shreyas is moksha. Security, artha, for example, is not going to be found in gaining and protecting things that must inevitably be lost. The real security is not being afraid of anything, and that is only moksha. Similarly, if we analyze the pursuits of kama and dharma, we see that they are only really fulfilled in moksha. It is the real purushartha that is behind every pursuit. Previously, kama, krodha, and lobha were shackling him so much that he could not pursue any purushartha successfully. When your hands are shackled, how can you even scratch yourself properly? But now he is free, vimukta, and is able to follow proper conduct. Because of that, tataha, he gains the most desirable and yati param gatim. Shankara says can even be moksha. Once he is not bound by kama, krodha, and lobha, if he is able to discern that what he is seeking is moksha, he can certainly accomplish that. If, however, one is not able to gain mastery over these three, they bring undesirable ends. What is the cause for his giving up these three and all the Asuri Sampat and following what is good for himself, the path of Dharma and Moksha? The next verse tells us that Shastra indicates what is to be done and what is not to be done, what is for one's own good, Shreyas, and what will bring suffering, Dukkha. And it is also the means for moksha. The next verse also talks about what happens if one does not look to the Shastra for these matters. So, if with Vivek Buddhi, if the desire is taken care of, then automatically the rest, Krodha and greed, will be taken care of. And a person can walk on the path of Shreyas. Anyone wants me to repeat or share anything? Okay. यशास्त्रविधिमुत्सृज्य वर्तते कामकारतः न स सिद्धिमवाप्नोति न सुखं न सुखं न परां गतिम्. Yah, the one who Shastra Vidhim, the injunctions of Shastra, Utsrujya, casting away, Kamakaratah, being impelled by binding desire. Vartate, engages. Saha, he, siddhim, the accomplishment of maturity. Na avapnoti, does not gain. Na sukham, nor happiness. Na paramgatim, nor a higher end. यह शास्त्रविधिम् उत्सृज्य कामकारतः वर्तते सः सिद्धिं न अवाप्नोति न सुखं न परां गतिम्. The one who being impelled by binding desire the one who being impelled by binding desire engages himself, casting away the injunctions of Shastra, gains neither maturity nor happiness here, nor a higher end. One who casts away the injunctions of the Shastra gains no Purushartha. This is a person who is completely given to binding desires, and because of that, Kama कारताः कामकारताः कामकारताः कामकारतः कामकारतः he lives his life vartate, totally committed to their fulfillment but without regard for the injunction vidhi of shastra. Shastra here means the Veda, our source of knowledge of what is to be done and what is not to be done. It contains both positive statements of what to do and negative ones of what to avoid. These are its vidhis. Even though we have innate common sense knowledge of universal do's and don'ts, we do not know all the consequences involved in heeding or ignoring our common sense norms of behavior. Shastra becomes very important here in letting us know the consequences of our actions. Even if a wrong action is not detected or punished here, the perpetrator does not escape the law of karma, so says the Shastra. Here we have a person who has cast away the dictates of Shastra and is driven purely by his kama. He does not gain siddhi. Saha na siddhim avapnoti. Siddhi here, Shankara says, is fitness for the pursuit of what is good for a person. Purushartha yogyata. This is maturity. The first accomplishment for a human being is the capacity to take proper care of himself. The second is education, in which he acquires an intellectual discipline and a certain emotional discipline. This is not an ordinary thing. If you have survived teenage without damage, that is one of the greatest things you can ever accomplish in life. It is such a difficult age. If you make proper use of it, you can gain the capacity to pursue any of the ends considered good for a person. Artha, Kama, Dharma, or Moksha. For pursuing any Purushartha, maturity is necessary. If one disregards the injunctions of Shastra, it is just not possible to gain this maturity. And when there is no maturity, it is not possible to have any worthwhile pursuit or accomplishment in life. When this is so, there is not going to be any happiness, na sukham in this life. To have sukha, you have to be mature. Otherwise, any small thing will upset you. Not only will there be no sukha in this world, you will not gain a better end, paragati, whether it is heaven or moksha. In youth, all our faculties are at their peak. It is the time when you can learn and remember so well. Once it is gone, you do not get it back. So it is important to make proper use of it. Later, you will be busy earning and doing 100 different things. If you dissipate your energies in sense pursuits at this time, later all you will remember is your hurts and disappointments and feel that you have accomplished nothing. By the time you reach your 40s, you will feel that you are finished. Without gaining intellectual and emotional maturity, the very sukha that you are so assiduously pursuing is denied. What a bad bargain. Therefore, the Gita Charya wants us to gain mastery over these three asuri tendencies, kama, krodha, and lobha, which are in everybody's heart in different degrees, not only in those of the asuras. So, very detailed roadmap given by Gita Charya. If we take care of our karma, everything can get well set. If you want me to repeat anything, please let me know. तस्मात् शास्त्रं प्रमाणं ते कार्याकार्यव्यवस्थितौ ज्ञात्वा शास्त्रविधानोक्तं कर्म कर्तुर्मिहार्हसि कर्म कर्तुमिहार्हसि Tasmat, therefore, karya akarya vyavasthitau, in the determination of what is to be and not to be done. Te, for you, Arjuna, Shastram Pramanam. Shastra is the means of knowledge. Shastra Vidhana Uktam. What is said by the mandates of the Shastra. Karma, action. Iha, here in this world. Gnatva, knowing. Kartum arhasi, you are obliged to do. Tasmat karya akarya vyavasthitau te shastram pramanam shastra vidhanoktam karma iha gnatva kartum arhasi. Therefore, Shastra is the means of knowledge for you, Arjuna, in the determination of what is to be and not to be done. Knowing what is said by the mandates of the Shastra, you are obliged to perform action here in this world. Shastra is the pramana for proper conduct. Shastra, meaning the Veda, is a pramana not only for Arjuna but for everybody. Pramana is a means of knowledge, not as it is often translated, a guide or authority. The word itself reveals the meaning. Prama karanam pramanam. Prama karanam pramakaranam pramanam. Kindly correct me if my pronunciation is wrong. Prama or prama. Prama karanam pramanam.
Karanam. Karanam Pramana.
Okay, Prama Karanam Pramanam. Dhanyavad, Dr. Mohan. Prama Karanam Pramanam. That which is instrumental in giving rise to Prama, knowledge, is Pramana. What kind of knowledge? the knowledge required in determining what is to be done and what is not to be done in a given situation. Whenever I want to know whether it is proper for me to do something or not, what kind of prayers I have to do, when, and the method of doing them, how much wealth I can have, and how much I should distribute, and so on, I will find it told in the injunctions of the Shastra, Shastra Vidhana Uktam. A Vidhana is what is mandated or enjoined. For example, it is said by the Shastra, do not hurt, himsam na kuryat, and do not speak falsehood, an, anrutam na bruyat, and the karma for each varna and ashrama is very clearly mentioned in the Shastra. But today, because of the breakdown of those systems, we have to convert these injunctions with reference to Varna and Ashrama into what is to be done and not to be done in general. Shastra tells us one's action attracts punya and papa, which are the adrishta phalas, and therefore one has to be mindful of one's actions. Here, iha, in this world, you stand to do karma. Karma kartum arhasi. The mention of iha here is to draw attention to the fact that on this earth, as a human being, you have the freedom to act or not to act. In other worlds, like heaven, Swarga, on the other hand, you do not have this freedom. You can only exhaust karma. You cannot do more karma and gather punya or papa. Even on this planet, there are shades of difference in that India is considered a better place to gather karma phala, a karma bhumi, while the United States of America is looked upon as a place where one predominantly experiences the result of a karma, a bhoga bhumi. But everywhere on this planet, as human beings, we do enjoy the freedom to choose our action and learn. In Gandharva Loka, on the other hand, all the time is passed in enjoyment of music. What can one learn there? This human birth in which we have that freedom is very rare and precious. And that freedom to learn and do karma and earn karma phala is here in this world is to be used, not abused. If you analyze the Shastra, this is the essence of what it says about actions. Knowing the karma that the Shastra has enjoined, you stand to do it kartum arhasi. Thus, Bhagwan concludes this chapter in which he talks about Daivi Sampat and Asuri Sampat and concludes by telling Arjuna that he should always go by the Shastra in deciding what is to be done and what is not to be done. ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे दैवासुरसम्पद्विभागयोगो नाम षोडशोऽध्यायः. The subject matter of which is knowledge of Brahman and also yoga is this 16th chapter known as Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga, in which the becoming and the unbecoming dispositions are described. Om Tat Sat. So, If you want me to repeat any paragraph, do let me know. Brahmaraji, shall we stop here for Manana, or you want me to, anyone wants me to repeat? Please do let me know. I can chant
We
those
can stop for
shlokas.
Manana today. We have about 20 minutes. Either that
So,
or we can run. We can do the Prasthanatrayam, just the verse, the meanings of the verses, and then we can break for Manana.
okay, shall I chant the shloka which we completed today?
Yeah, you can chant. In the meantime, I'll open that.
Okay. So we did from 19th onwards today, once again repeated. तानहं द्विषतः क्रूरान् संसारेषु नराधमान् क्षिपाम्यजस्रमशुभानान् क्षिपाम्यजस्रमु शुभाना क्षिपाम्यजस्रमशुभान् आसुरीष्वेव योनिषु. Those men who are hateful and cruel, who are the lowest of men, who are wrongdoers, I dispatch repeatedly into a life of transmigration only in Asuri wombs. Asurim yonimapanna mudha janmani janmani mama prapyaiva kaunteya tato yantyadhamam gatim. Arjuna, these who lack discrimination, obtaining the womb of an asura in every birth, certainly not reaching me, go to an end that is even lower than that. Trividham narakasyedam dvaram nashanamaatmanah kama krodhastatha lobha tasmadetatrayam tyajet. This doorway to Naraka, painful experiences which destroys a person, is threefold: desire, anger, and also greed. Therefore, one should give up this triad. एतैर्विमुक्तः कौन्तेय त्वं मुक्तमो द्वारैस्त्रिभिर्नरः आचर्य आचरत्यात्मनः श्रेयः ततो याति परां गतिम्. A man who is free from these three gates to darkness, Arjuna, follows what is good for himself. Because of that, he reaches the higher end. यः शास्त्रविधिमुत्सृज्य वर्तते कामकारतः न स सिद्धिमवाप्नोति न सुखं न परां गतिम्. The one who, being impelled by binding desire, engages himself, casting away the injunctions of Shastra, gains neither maturity nor happiness here, nor a higher end. तस्मात् शास्त्रं प्रमाणं ते कार्याकार्यव्यवस्थितौ ज्ञात्वा शास्त्रविधानोक्तं कर्म कर्तुमिहार्हसि. Therefore, Shastra is the means of knowledge for you, Arjuna, in the determination of what is to be and not to be done. Knowing what is said by the mandates of the Shastra, you are obliged to perform action here in this world. Oh, that's it. So we can close our eyes and Brahmaraji, kindly take over the session.
Yeah, no problem. So what we'll do now is just read through this, just the meanings, and then we can do Manana. Chapter 16, Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga, Becoming and Unbecoming Dispositions. Sri Bhagavan said, this is Shlokas 1 to 3. Freedom from fear, purity of mind, steadiness and contemplation, charity, judicious restraint, performing rituals, recitation of one's own branch of the Veda, religious discipline, austerity, alignment of thought, word, deed, absence of hurting, truthfulness, resolution of anger, renunciation, resolution of the mind, absence of calumny, compassion for living beings, absence of ardent longing, softness, modesty, absence of physical agitation, brilliance, composure, fortitude, cleanliness, no thought of hurting, and no exaggerated self opinion are there for the one who is born to the wealth of Devas, O Bharata. O Partha, the one who is born to the wealth of an Asura has hypocrisy with reference to dharma, pride, a tendency to demand respect, anger, harshness, and indeed a lack of discrimination. Spiritual wealth, wealth of devas, is considered to be for freedom, the wealth of an asura for bondage. Do not grieve, Pandava, you are born to spiritual wealth. In this world, there are two types of created beings, the Daiva, divine, and Asura. The divine have been extensively spoken of. Listen to me, Partha, about the characteristics of Asuras. People who have qualities belonging to the Asuras do not know what is to be done and what is to be withdrawn from. There is neither inner cleanliness nor proper conduct, nor truthfulness in them. They say this world of people is untruthful, without ethical basis, godless, and is born of the union of male and female, is driven by passion and nothing else. Having recourse to this view, these enemies of the world, whose minds are destroyed, who are of meager thinking and cruel actions, are there very much for the destruction of the world. Resorting to desire that is difficult to fulfill, those who are riddled with pretension, demand for respect and pride, whose pursuits are unbecoming, having adopted false purposes due to delusion, engage themselves in various actions. Those committed to immeasurable concern until death, intent upon enjoyment of objects of desire, having concluded it, that is life, is this much alone, committed to desire and anger, and bound by hundreds of fetters of hope, engage themselves in the accumulation of wealth illegitimately for the enjoyment of objects of desire. Today, this is gained by me. I will gain this that is pleasing to the mind. This wealth I have. This wealth also I will have later. So they think. This enemy is destroyed by me, and I will destroy others also. I am the ruler. I am the enjoyer. I am successful, powerful, and happy. So they think. Those who are totally deluded due to lack of discrimination say, I have wealth. I was born in a very good family. Who else is there equal to me? I will perform rituals. I will give. I will enjoy. Those who are completely deluded by many types of thoughts, covered by the net of delusion, lack of discrimination, and totally committed to the enjoyment of desirable objects, fall into the unclean naraka, places of pain. Those who are self-glorifying, vain, conceited, filled with pride and arrogance because of their wealth, perform rituals that are rituals in name alone, name only, not according to stipulations, but out of pretension. Those who are completely given to egoism, brute strength, insolence, enjoyment, and anger, who despise me in their own and others' bodies, who are great cavillers. Those men who are hateful and cruel, who are the lowest of men, who are wrongdoers, I dispatch repeatedly into a life of transmigration only in Asuri wombs. Arjuna, these who lack discrimination, obtaining the womb of an Asura in every birth, certainly not reaching me, go to an end that is even lower than that. This doorway to Naraka of painful experiences which destroys a person is threefold: desire, anger, and also greed. Therefore, one should give up this triad. A man who is free from these three gates to darkness, Kaunteya, follows what is good for himself. Because of that, he reaches the higher end. The one who, being impelled by binding desire, engages himself, casting away the injunctions of the Shastra, gains neither maturity nor happiness here, nor a higher end. Therefore, Shastra is the means of knowledge for you in the determination of what is to be and not to be done. Knowing what is said by the mandates of the Shastra, you are obliged to perform action here in this world. Om Tat Sat. इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे दैवासुरसम्पद्विभागयोगो नाम षोडशोऽध्यायः। अथ सप्तदशोऽध्यायः श्रद्धात्रयविभागयोगः। Arjuna said, O Krishna, those who perform a ritual giving up what is stipulated by the Shastra but endowed with Shraddha, what is their basis? Is it Sattva, Rajas, or Tamas? So we'll close our eyes here and just reflect on all that we have learned, listen to, and let's come up with our takeaways.
He has summed up all this thing in that verse number 21. That these threefold, that is kama, krodha, lobha, that is desire, anger, and greed. Ultimately, these three are the main doorway to the Naraka. So we should be very careful with this. Mainly desire, anger, and greed.
If one is taken care of, if someone, suppose greed is taken care of, others can be taken care of. So at least if your attention is to the one thing like kama or krodha or moha, the other two will be taken care of.
You take care of desire, because see, desire is ultimately the root cause of anger and greed. So again, it boils down to looking at our
Desire. Ragadvesha.
what you like, what you don't like. And what is the prasada? If you live a life of a karma yogi, prasada buddhi, you're doing what is to be done. And for that, you follow the Shastra, because the Shastra is the pramana. Whether it's a ritual you're doing, whether it is your job you're doing it 100% that what is to be done, what is not to be done. So you're clear, you have that viveka in your mind, discrimination, and then you go about doing your activity, and whatever comes you take as prasada buddhi, then this desire will be quelled. This desire will will slowly drop off. Desire comes why? Because you're bound to your raga dveshas. I like this, I don't like this. So when you get something you don't like, you automatically the desire to get what you like comes up. Oh, I don't like this, so this is not the result I want. But whereas if you have that prasada buddhi, doesn't matter. This is ordained. This is coming from Ishvara. I will take it with a smile. Then you're living a life of you're having the Daiva Sampat.
That is what was told by Guruji in, I think, when we have posted, like
likes and dislikes. No, that is what is keeping you small. So our dislike keeps the ego very tight. So lesser the dislikes in life, that much vibrancy, happiness, joy, everything melts up. Once the dislike is gone, there is no enemy for you. There is so much peace. There is no fear. There is no insecurity. And then likes also should not turn into cravings. Then likes will turn into love through awareness, through knowledge, through wisdom. Grows from the dislikes. And then likes also. Beyond likes and dislikes is what? Bliss. You exuberate pure energy. That is called God. Everyone is God. But this likes and dislikes is like a shell around them. And thicker it is, lesser it is visible. And if it becomes even thicker, that's when people suffer a lot. But just knowing this brings such freedom from within. Our mind gets into
this
So-
is
Well, yeah. See, for a Daiva Sampat, there's likes and dislikes. That shell is almost negligible. That is why they come from that freedom from fear. Abhaya happens when you're not stuck to your likes and dislikes. So ultimately, it's boiling down to our raga dveshas. These are the binding. Again, the Hridaya Granthi that we learned earlier in in an earlier chapter is the Jiva is bound. Brahma and Jiva are bound by this Hridaya Granthi, the threefold knot of ignorance, kama, avidya, and not sure what the third one is. First, initially, they're bound by avidya, and from there comes kama. And I think it is krodha also, the third knot. So that is why we need to go to the Shastra. Why? Because the Shastra shows us the path, that pramana. It gives us that, the prama, knowledge. And once we have that knowledge, this basic avidya, that thing is sheath is gone, then you are free. You are completely free. That is why the roadmap is so clearly made out here. Esha yah shastra vidhi vritsrijya yajante kamakarata. So again, we all should be grateful that we have been shown the path and that we are on this path. But at the same time, I yesterday after long Kriya Prem had read out this knowledge sheet, and I found it very, very apt for us, because knowledge as a burden. I don't mind reading that one more time. I posted it in the group, but I'll just read that once. Knowledge as a burden. Knowledge is a burden if it robs you of innocence. Knowledge is a burden if it is not integrated into life. Knowledge is a burden if it doesn't bring joy. Knowledge is a burden if it gives you an idea that you are wise. Knowledge is a burden if it doesn't set you free. Knowledge is a burden if it makes you feel you are special. So we might have this thing somewhere deep down saying, oh, we are attending this. What about the others? They're not attending. So we might have that feeling of being special. That then becomes a burden. We should have that humility, that modesty and softness, and come from a space of gratitude. Things are the way they are. Let them be. I mean, we are here for our upliftment, right? So we are not in a space to compare ourselves with others and say, oh, what about them? It's okay. You live your life and then they will follow. Eventually, everybody has their time. So I just thought I would share that. Yeah, I would request everybody also to share at least one takeaway from this chapter.
Hari Om, the very beautiful thing which Swamiji has pointed out here is the importance of this knowledge during our youth. So I was really admiring our Swami Chinmayanandji, who has so many programs for the youth, even our Shri Shri, who has designed so well the Yes program and all intuition process and all, where we try to focus these important groups, how important it is to have the control over your desire, control over your anger, control over your greed, and how it manifests in the rest of our lives. So that point was really beautifully explained by Swamiji here. So the importance of Bal Vihar and everything, I just uh, thought that it is so important.
Very true. Anybody else wants to share?
Hari Om Brahmaraji, that insolence aspect, could you please explain little that the henchman? Henchman is the army of these, like the one who is powerful, he will be having the army.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insolence is rude and disrespectful behavior. So that is insolence. So darpa is that insolence. And they have a lot of katritva bhavana. That is why they say, I'm sukhi, I'm dukhi, I am happy, I'm doing rituals. There's a lot of I there. And that leads to boastfulness. They're doing rituals, but not in the right way. They're just doing it for pretension. Dambha.
Correct. Avidhi Purvakam.
Yeah. And they're
Eh,
filled with rajas because they are so with the kamakarata, asha pasha shatair baddha. So they have hundreds of desires that they're bound with. So after they finish one, they have another one to do. After another one to do. So it is like that anala, that fire which never says enough. Whereas when you come from need-based living, minimalistic living, you require only that much. And once you've got that, that beautiful paragraph that the Swamiji explained, where you may have 25 rooms in your house, but you can stay in only one room at a time. You may have several cars, but you can go in only one car at a time. So what is the use of amassing so much wealth?
And even in the car, you need only one seat.
One seat. Exactly. And you have only one stomach to fill. How much can you eat? So when you come with this discrimination, this viveka is there, then your ability to take care of your unending desires that may crop up, thanks to our orientation. From childhood, we've been taught, maybe, we're brought up saying, because if we are given the wrong value that money is all, wealth is all, fame, name in society is all that matters, then we are subconsciously driven to amassing that. So, and it is also because of the society, the psychology that is reigning in society, that impels one to go forward and do that. But actually, no, you step aside and say, hey, listen, am I becoming consumeristic, just following in the rat race, getting into the rat race and just, without any discrimination, just following the whole gang? Or do I want to create a path for myself? What I need is this. I just need 2 square meals a day. I need a roof over my house, over my head, and some clothes to wear. That's it. So automatically, there is a sense of minimalism that dawns in us.
There is one Daivi Guna, that Kaluloptam, means when object is there, see, very easy to say that I don't need that, we have not seen. But object is available, and to have that feeling of I don't need it, that is Kaluloptam.
Yeah.
So Swamiji has told very, very nicely in that when we go to market to buy something, so we have to buy that much only. That shopping, that is what? Lack of Kaluloptam. That quality also is Devi quality. We have to not forget it.
So I spoke to Nana about having a session. He's open to that. He also wants to take up the 42 shlokas that Ramana Maharshi has picked up from the Gita. He wants to do that. So he's planning as to how to go about doing that. So tomorrow we have an option of revising chapter 16 one more time. We'll just do a complete read without stopping. We'll do, maybe it'll take us 2 or 3 days to do this. Either we do that or we start chapter 17. I'll leave the decision to all of you.
The repeat is perfect, Brahmaraji.
Yeah, so we'll do a repeat of chapter 16. And fine. So shall we close here today?
Yeah, for repeating, I just want to add, because the heading of the chapter itself says becoming and unbecoming. So the way our mind behaves, we have to recognize that, and then accordingly becoming and unbecoming.
Yeah.
That is do's and don't, not to do, what to do and what not to do.
They're all the human values, no? In chapter Shloka 1 to 3, all that is mentioned is human values. And that is what Gurudev has created, the International Association of Human Values. Is just this, all these beautiful qualities that are Daiva Sampat. And a child is born with all of them, just that they need to be nurtured. Of course, based on their Purva Janma Samskara, they may have few Asuri Gunas, but that can be nurtured, that can be rectified with proper attention. Which is why we have we have the Bal Vihar, the Shishu Vihar, all of them.
In Krishna says, no, it is gunas, Devi Guna and this one. Don't be worried about it. You are born with it.
Yeah.
He has said in that verse, I think verse number 5 or I think 6. Don't think that you are not with Devi Guna. You have the Devi Guna, you have to nurture it. That is what he told us.
Which is what? No, the core is divine. It is only the periphery, the shell around is thanks to our likes and dislikes. That becomes harder and harder the more strong the likes and dislikes are. Like what Gurudev mentioned in that audio clip.
No, that assurance by Krishna, no, that we are born with it is very, 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 very good, you know, because what we think that we will not have that. Oh, I'm like this, or I'm gone case. No, we should not be that. We have to just nurture it.
Yeah.
Very, very important point. As Guruji says, no, you are disqualifying yourself.
So tomorrow, actually, I wanted to take your suggestion. I know it's a momentous occasion for all in Bharat about the Ram Pratishtha, Pran Pratishtha. So I was wondering whether you would want to do something related to that in our session. So just let me know your suggestions. I thought we'll do Ram meditation.
Perfect. I was going to tell the same.
Yeah. So at the end of our session, we'll do Ram meditation, so that maximum people will be there. We'll chant Shanti Mantra and then do, I'll play Nirvana Shaktakam. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Parnamastu. Just 1 second.
मनोबुद्ध्यहङ्कार चित्तानिनाहं न च श्रोत्रजिह्वे न च घ्राणनेत्रे न च व्योमभूमिर्दिशो चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न च प्राणसंज्ञो न वै पञ्चवायुः न वा सप्तधातुः न वा पञ्चकोशः न वाक्पाणिपादौ न चोपस्थपायुः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न मे द्वेषरागो न मे लोभमोहो मदोर्नैव मे नैव मात्सर्यभावः न धर्मो न चार्थो न कामो न मोक्षः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न पुण्यं न पापं न सौख्यं न दुःखं न मन्त्रो न तीर्थं न वेदा न यज्ञः अहं भोजनं नैव भोज्यं न भोक्ता चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न मे मृत्युशङ्का न मे जातिभेदः पिता नैव मे नैव माता न जन्म न बन्धुर्न मित्रं गुरुर्नैव शिष्यः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् अहं निर्विकल्पो निराकाररूपो विभुर्व्याप्य सर्वत्र सर्वेन्द्रियाणां सदा मे समत्वं न मुक्तिर्न बन्धः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं 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 शिवोऽहम्